Hi, everybody. Welcome to my homestead and welcome to my channel. My name is Jared. I got an email from Devin Southam. Jared, update on red heifers. Godspeed, my brother, Devin. And then he provides a YouTube link where you can learn about that. Thank you, Devin. And I did know about this because I followed the Temple Institute Facebook page, and they just recently had a conference that had to do with the red heifers. And there's some new information that came out of that. So we're going to discuss that in just a minute. Before we do, here's the Flood the Earth Challenge. I'm probably not going to update this for a couple days because I have a really busy couple days coming up, and it takes time to go through, find everybody's comments and emails and update this. So as of right now, we're at 8,431 copies of the Book of Mormon that have been shared, trying to get to 10,000, and then 941 people that have joined the challenge, and we're trying to get to 1,000 of those. So we're getting ever closer. Just remember, sharing the Book of Mormon does change lives, and it does cause some to embrace the gospel and decide to get baptized. So please make sure to do this. If you haven't joined the challenge yet, all you have to do is share a copy of the Book of Mormon and then let me know in the comments or send me an email. Make sure to include #flood. Okay, so here is the video that of the conference, and unfortunately, it's all in Hebrew. What you can do is you can go down here to the bottom right and turn on the closed captions and then go to the settings button. And then at the very top, select English and it'll auto translate it. But from what I can tell, I don't think it does a very good job. It's really iffy. So you can try that. But a much better option, I think, is to go to this channel called Israel, my channel. And I've been following this guy for a while. He's there in Israel. He speaks Hebrew. And he has a lot of good information when it comes to Jerusalem and Israel and things like this when we're talking about the red heifer. So what he said, because he watched the conference, what he said is, as of right now, they have these 3 heifers that are ready to go. I know that there are more than just these 3. And what has to happen is that they have to be perfectly red. So now I've heard different things, like they can't have more than 2 non-red hairs. They can have 1 white and 1 black. I've heard a number of different things, and like I've tried to like really get down to the bottom of all these like different details, but I keep getting different bits of information from different sources. So whatever the case, there's some standard of how red they're supposed to be in order to be considered kosher for the sacrifice. So these 3 are ready. The other ones, I don't know if it's because they have some hairs that turned white or black. I don't know if it's because they're not yet the right age. That's another thing that I've heard different things on. At first I heard they were supposed to be 2 years and 1 day old, because at that point they are in their 3rd year of life. I've also heard that they have to be 2 years and 1 month old. I'm going to show you another thing in just a minute that says that they have to be 1 or 2 years and 2 months old. So it's just like, it's all over the place. But whatever the case, according to this conference, these 3 are currently ready to go. They can be used for the sacrifice. Okay. Now, so I've done multiple videos about the red heifers, and I've heard different things about when they would be sacrificed. There was a lot of speculation. Some people thought that they had to be sacrificed on Shabbat Para, which is a special Sabbath that's centered on the mitzvah or the commandment of the red heifers. That's not the case. It doesn't have to be on Shabbat Para. There were also a couple other dates, but the 2 most authoritative sources that I came across was from CBN News and also CBS, where they talked to these people that are actually going to be doing the sacrifice. And they were talking about the fact that they were planning to do it during Passover this year, and that they're going to live stream it. So up until this video that I'm making right now, I thought that that was the case. Well, I guess what they talked about during this conference is that this has gotten a lot of attention. And so at first, the Israeli government gave it a green light and said, yeah, okay, you can do it during Passover. But it's gotten too much attention, as we're about to see in just a minute when we cover this article. And so as of right now, there is not a date set when they're going to do the sacrifice, but it could be at any time. And Israel, my channel, talks about the fact that there's not a specific date when this has to happen. It can happen anytime. There isn't a date on the Hebrew calendar when this has to happen. So I suppose it could happen before Passover, or it may happen afterwards. One thing that he was saying, and I haven't heard anybody else say this, but he was talking about the fact that these heifers are being kept in Shiloh, in that there's the possibility that they may recreate the tabernacle, because this is where the tabernacle was for about 300 years before Solomon's temple was built. And there's currently an archaeological dig that's taking place right there. I've done videos about that before, and they believe that this area right here is where the tabernacle was. And I don't know where Israel, my channel, got this idea from that they may reconstruct the tabernacle. But at the end of the video, he says that his best guess is that they would do this, and then you could sacrifice the red heifer in front of the tabernacle. Because the way it's supposed to be done is, let me pull up Google Earth. If they were going to do it in Jerusalem, it's supposed to be in sight of the Holy of Holies, like the Kohanim, or the priests, as they're sacrificing the red heifer, they're supposed to be able to look and see into the Holy of Holies. So there's a specific location on the Mount of Olives, and according to Israel, my channel, he was saying, or he had pointed out this spot right here where the Dominus Flevit Church is, like in this area. I don't know if it would be on the property owned by the church or like this area behind it, but this is what he had in his video. And he was saying that this would be where the priest would need to be in order to look into where the Holy of Holies would be if the temple was currently there. So, but anyway, he was guessing that they would, for some reason, without explanation, he was guessing that they would recreate the tabernacle and that it could be done there in front of the tabernacle looking into the Holy of Holies. There was one part here, maybe he got this from the conference, although he didn't say for sure. As I was kind of like going through this, there was a part where they showed the tabernacle, but like I said, the translation down here just isn't that good. I'm trying to learn Hebrew, but it's going to take a long time before I become fluent. I definitely don't have the chance to speak it every day, so I'm just learning some of the basics right now. But anyway, maybe he got that idea from the conference, but it's not clear that he did. Okay, so it's not going to take place. The Israeli government said it's not going to take place during Passover. I had seen from another source in a previous video that they were going to provide security for this event, but I guess Passover would just be too, it would probably cause too much of a stir. Although I think whenever it does happen, whether it's in Jerusalem or Shiloh, whether it's during Passover or not, I think it's going to cause a stir. Remember, Hamas, when they did their speech at the 100-day mark of the war, the spokesman talked about the fact that this is the reason that the war started, was because of the red heifers. I mean, not solely. I don't think it's solely because of the red heifers, but it's almost like the red heifers, when they came to Israel, it was the straw that broke the camel's back. So anyway, it could happen anytime. Could happen before, could happen after. We'll just have to wait and see what happens. Okay, so I think those are the big things. We have these three heifers right here, and it's not going to take place during Passover. Don't know when it's going to take place. Although I've said before, I don't think that they can risk waiting too long, because hair color can change anytime. So they have these three right now, and I think if they were wise, they would do it sooner rather than later. But we'll just have to wait and see what happens. Now, I got another email. This is from Dee Staub that gave me a link to this article from Jordan News. Okay. And so reading this, you can see like the Muslim point of view and why they're so concerned. In fact, there was one thing here that I hadn't considered up until this point. So, okay, Tel Aviv. The Temple Institute is scheduled to hold a conference on Wednesday to discuss the religious preparations for performing the ritual of sacrificing the red heifer. This ritual aims to purify from the impurity of the dead, to surpass the prohibition imposed by the Great Rabbinate of Israel from entering the Al-Aqsa Mosque due to the lack of purity conditions, Quds Press reported. So we have talked about this before. There is there's kind of like a divide in opinion among Jews whether they should or shouldn't go up to the Temple Mount and do the tour. There's like a ramp over on this side. So here you have the Western Wall. You can't see it very well. So here's the Western Wall, otherwise known as the Kotel or the Kotel. And you have this ramp. Excuse me. If you're a Christian, well, if you're a non-Muslim, this is the only place that you can go. This is the only entrance to the Temple Mount that you can go to do a tour. So you go up this ramp and then you do a guided tour. And I don't know if it's like this with Christians, but I know with Jews, they have to stick with the police and they go like in this like circuit around this area, like going around the Dome of the Rock. Okay. So there's been like a divide in opinion whether you should go up there as a Jew, because you may accidentally go into an area that you're not supposed to be because you're not a priest, right? And so there's some rabbis that are like, you should not go up there, but then there's others that are like, yes, go up there because this is the Temple Mount. It belongs to us. We need to have a presence up there. And so you do have Jews that go to the Temple Mount to do the tour. So, excuse me. So you can see that the Muslims may be worried about this, getting the ashes of the red heifer, because then more Jews would go up to the Temple Mount. Even though the temple's not there, more Jews would be like, well, okay, we don't have this issue anymore. We can go up there without risking anything. Okay, so, well, actually, no, sorry. Let me correct what I was saying. So I don't think it's so much about accidentally entering into an area that only priests can go, but into where the temple itself would be. You wouldn't be able to go into this area unless you were ritually pure. So you may accidentally go into that area without being pure. So, okay. Continuing. The conference will be held in the Shiloh settlement north of Ramallah, where the 5 cows imported from Texas are under special care and round-the-clock monitoring. Several rabbis advocating for conducting the rituals will speak at the conference after the cows have reached the minimum legal age required for the purification process, which is 2 years and 2 months. So again, I keep hearing different numbers. I don't know what's true. This condition specifies that the cows must not be younger than this, but they can be older. Additionally, a report issued by the Jerusalem Foundation International in Lebanon on Tuesday explained that the extremist temple groups rely on establishing the purification ritual with the red heifer right here. This is what the Muslims are worried about, to enable hundreds of thousands of religious Jews to enter the Al-Aqsa Mosque who currently refrain from doing so out of adherence to the official rabbinic prohibition. So I can only assume that is what would happen. Well, I guess there's the question of, would the Temple Institute or those that would possess the ashes, would they start doing that? Would they be like, okay, well, we don't have the temple yet, but we're going to start purifying people so that they can go up to the Temple Mount? I'm not sure that they would do that. But I mean, what do I know? I don't know anything. Because they may be like, well, okay, we have the ashes now, but we're not going to waste them until the temple is constructed. So those that are worried about it, they may be worrying over nothing. I don't know. Continuing, the foundation stated, quote, "If this happens, Okay, this, if it happens, would effectively open the way to multiplying the dangers surrounding Al-Aqsa and increasing the number of intruders and participants in imposing rituals therein. So they're taking it as a threat. They are really worried about this. The Temple Institute had published an announcement last February calling for volunteer priests to be trained in the rituals of purification with the red heifer. It set up special conditions for the volunteers, and this process is supposed to take place on a piece of land seized by these groups. Well, they're saying seized. I think that they legally purchased it, but for this purpose on the Mount of Olives opposite the Al-Aqsa Mosque. It is worth mentioning that the date recorded in the religious texts of these groups for the slaughter of the red heifer and the purification falls on April 10th, the day of Eid al-Fitr. Now, like I said, according to Israel, my channel, and he puts out a lot of good information. He seems very accurate to me. Again, he said that it could happen any day. Now, maybe this was the original day that they were planning on, but it doesn't have to be on that day. So this is where we're at. Don't expect it to happen during Passover. I probably wouldn't expect it to happen before Passover. Let me just pull up hebcal.com really quick so we can remind ourselves when Passover is. It's in April. It's basically from sundown on the 22nd of April until the 30th of April. So the last week of April, last couple weeks. So it's probably not going to happen before then. That's just the feeling that I get from what I heard. But maybe they will. Maybe they'll just hurry and do it. It'll be a surprise. I don't know. Seems like that would be a smart move. But anyway, if it isn't before Passover, then sometimes afterward. So we'll just have to continue to watch and wait and see what happens. So, all right, well, that's going to be it for this one. If you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe, like this video if you liked it, leave your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. Also, make sure to share it, and I'll talk to you guys later.